A loose end.
A loose end, what?
The son of the traitor Sparta. Dante.
Him.
He's still out there.
The hunters will find him. They found Sparta in his whore. And when they do...
I will rip open his chest with my bare hands and feast on his beating heart.
Not content with resting on its heavenly perch, Capcom has taken the huge risk of completely rebooting the successful and damn near sacred cash cow, Devil May Cry, by starting almost completely from scratch. This is not a sequel or a follow-up. This is an entire reimagining of Devil May Cry, with an entirely new developer, Ninja Theory, taking the reins. The result? A memorable action thrill ride, glazed with polish, marinated in style, and dripping with attitude. The story begins with our familiar hero Dante hungover after a night of partying and heavy drinking, minding his own business when Dante is beset by demons, who have it out to kill him, of course. To fight the demons, Dante is recruited by a spunky young woman named Kat into a secret underground organization led by the mysterious Virgil. Dante learns that not only is the world secretly split in two dimensions, the corporeal human world and a demonic limbo world, but that he himself is a Nephilim, a mix of angel and demon, able to traverse both worlds and fight the demons.
So, Mundus killed our mom and imprisoned our dad.
Yes.
And we're the offspring of angels and demons.
Demon father, angel mother. We are Nephilim. The only ones that can slay the Demon King.
Good. How?
Spotter. Fucking demon collaborators. You're being dragged into limbo. I'll find Kat, she'll get you out. Stand firm!
Like other games in the series, Devil May Cry is a melee action hack-and-slash brawler. The action is swift and relentless, with players encouraged to string together attacks into high-damage combos, as well as awarding points for variety and style in attacks. The fighting system is tuned to be as fast-paced and free-flowing as possible. Prepare to be constantly on your toes, and your fingers to get a workout when facing hordes of enemies. At your disposal are classic fallback weapons, a human sword called Rebellion, and a pair of aptly named twin guns named Ebony and Ivory. As the game progresses, new elements, weapons, and enemies are introduced one by one. The slow and steady pacing ensures you have ample time to get a feel for the new enemies and weapon familiarity. By the game's end, you'll have a mastery of a variety of weapons, which you can switch up on the fly in mid-combat. You'll also be facing dozens of different enemies, each with its own unique weaknesses and strategies that must be used to defeat them. It won't be unusual, for instance, to utilize 5 different weapons strung together into a combo in the span of a few seconds. To break up the combat, there are some platforming elements, as well as the occasional environmental puzzle. Boss battles are a real treat. They are bombastic, over the top, and wild. The enemies, by design, are a bit predictable. This, however, may turn off fans who can expect a little more challenge. Enemies and bosses will always, for instance, telegraph their next moves with noticeable visual and audio tells, and usually follow a fairly predictable pattern. Fans of previous games may also be dismayed to learn that lock-on targeting has been taken out completely in favor of an auto-targeting system. While the auto-targeting is usually on point, there can be instances when the auto-targeting simply does not work well. The platforming does become stale after a while since it doesn't evolve into much beyond jumping and grappling. The campaign runs a good length at about 10 hours for the average gamer. An experienced player, however, may run the campaign in as little as 6 hours. Replay value comes when you unlock the harder difficulties. All upgrades you accumulate, as well as weapons, do carry over when you replay the game. You can also take on the optional secret missions hidden throughout the game, by unlocking hidden doors and finding out-of-the-way keys to satiate game completionists. One thing I have to mention, Ninja Theory makes the deliberate decision not to include quick-time events. The game maintains its slick, cinematic edge without once resorting to a button prompt. Visually, Devil May Cry is a stunning treat for the eyes. Environments feel organic and lived in. Ninja Theory uses the Unreal Engine to full effect, creating levels that are in constant motion. Demonic growth litters the grounds and walls. Spirits pop in and out of the demonic world, and the ground collapses beneath your feet. Buildings crumble, walls cave in on you. It feels completely crazy. The level of detail infused in each and every level is absolutely insane. This is some of the best looking level design I have ever seen. You've got to see it to believe it. The visuals, however, aren't completely without fault. Some of the shadowing, particularly on characters, can look a bit janky, and the frame rate does chop a bit at times, especially during cutscenes. Also, previous Devil May Cry fans may be disappointed to see that this game runs at a steady 30 frames a second, instead of the 60 they are used to.
Yeah, we'll meet you there. See you soon, Virgil.
You guys seem tight. How'd you meet?
Is it relevant?
I'd like to know who I'm risking life and limb with. He's my brother. He's trying to save the world. What's your story?
Perhaps the biggest surprise is the storytelling.
asked for your help.
Ninja Theory has proven with games like Heavenly Sword and Enslaved that they know how to create believable characters.
You want to kill me? You can't kill me. I'm 1,200 years old.
You don't look a day over 12,000.
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
Yeah, the new Dante isn't very elegant or eloquent. He's rude, crude, and a bastard with a chip on his shoulder. But he's a well fleshed out and believable character with real depth and heart. You may catch yourself smiling as he lets out one of his many raunchy one-liners, and by the end, you will be rooting for him. What could have been cheesy and corny dialogue is really sold by some stellar motion capture acting. Devil May Cry tells a complete story on par with any good Hollywood action blockbuster. Its overall subversive undertone really resonates, as consumerist culture of excess, greed, and misinformation are viciously lampooned with some biting political satire. Top this off with some devilish dubstep by the band Noisia, as well as music by the band Combichrist. DmC Devil May Cry is a complete roller coaster ride of a game. It is easily, even this early on, a contender for Game of the Year. Capcom should be applauded for taking such a huge gamble, both in rebooting the franchise and handing the game development to Ninja Theory, who have now rightfully entered the lexicon of top-tier game developers. Devil May Cry gets a 5 out of 5 stars. Once again, this is Yakoloi, signing off.